Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the second of 5 sessions of my PBTA of Dark Age Heroes Protecting the Innocent from the Supernatural, Eotenweard. This game was organised as part of the Gauntlet monthly calendar. If you're interested in the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and you will find all about us. And you'll also find out about the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend on the 25th, 6th, 7th and 8th of February, where you can come along and try playing with us. So I would recommend that to you. You want to know any more about the Gauntlet, please refer to session 1 in this series. We are playing, my pronouns are he, him. We are playing in this session with a selection of safety tools. We like in the Gauntlet to think that our table culture is very safe, secure, and supportive. So we're playing with the X card, and all these players have played with me before, and they understand that the best way to play the X card is to show me an X, because I tend to focus on the visuals, not the chat. But if anybody does put something in the chat, please do bring my attention to it. And can I stress again that just because you don't play the X card the first time something comes up, that doesn't mean you have to live with it if with hindsight or on reflection, you think that's not comfortable. In order to minimize the use of the X card, we have lines and veils. Lines that we've agreed won't appear in the fiction, and veils that if they do appear in the fiction, we will fade to black. And you know, just keep them in the background. We also have, I notice, a couple of asked firsts. And I will ask first before we get into those. I won't list them now because sometimes simply listing them is triggering. So yeah, this is a Dark Age game. So we are setting. I'm setting this well quite precisely actually. It is the winter of 633 AD. The High King of Britain, Edwin, has recently been killed in battle, and chaos reigns across his realm. Our band of heroes last time arrived at the settlement of Aethelburh, where they have uncovered some supernatural doings, with which one of them, Hild, appears to have a connection. I'm going to try and explore with Hild quite what that connection looks like, because I think the last thing that Hild said to me was something about, you know, technically it was murder, but it was more like manslaughter. So we'll explore exactly what that looked like. But that's enough for me at this point. Oh, sorry, I've started recording without asking you. Are you all okay that I record this? Do remind me to ask you if I can post it at the end, please. Okay. So in character keeper order, I will just go across the table and ask you to say hello, introduce yourself, and tell us a little something about the character. So let's start. Sawyer, say hello and tell us something about Eadric the Commoner.
Hello, I am Sawyer, also known as Ferret. I use any pronouns. You can't misgender me unless you're trying to be a dick. Don't be a dick. And I am playing Eadric. He uses he, him pronouns. He is the commoner. He comes with chicken and donkey and a cudgel, but he is an inquisitive fellow who tries to keep people, well, on a simple path.
Well, and good luck with that. Let's move along. Greg, say hello and tell us something about Hild the Outlaw, or previous outlaw, now hero.
Yeah, I'm Greg, he, him, and I'll be playing Hild. She's an outlaw, pagan outlaw, and she definitely grew up rough. Disheveled hair, growing up rough, maybe never got a great chance in life. Yeah, she's kind of a bit on the run because she ended up killing somebody back in a village. But yeah, she's not afraid to do crimes if, you know, that's what she needs to do to survive.
And protect the innocent from the supernatural, obviously.
Of course. As long as those two, you know, as long as those two cross, we're all good.
There is a sweet spot, yeah. Because otherwise Woden is going to get increasingly angry. So Will, say hello, tell us something about Cennus, the Sword of God.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him. Those of Cennus, the Sword of God. Cennus was a a Saxon warrior who, well, a Briton, of unknown heritage, I think, who was used to be, just the average sellsword mercenary type, and after years of a bloody life, has found a path in God who has given him the power to heal instead of to kill, and he seeks to use that. Although his spear is always ready to do the Lord's bidding as well. He knows that the wolf shall lie down with the sheep one day.
Yeah, but last week the Christ God was not particularly interested in hearing your prayers, was it? Will they?
He's showing me that I must follow my own wisdom and not rely upon that of my Lord.
For truly he acts in mysterious ways.
I did have a question about that.
Oh, go on.
If you could, is the thing I can owe a debt to a god to get advantage on a roll? Is that correct?
What you do is if in a situation you can invoke your reputation, and currently your reputation is simply a sword of God.
Yeah.
Then you can pay your god a debt in order to improve an outcome by one entire step.
Which I could have done with that playbook move.
You could have.
Okay, that's interesting, because that would have been, that's a no-brainer to me. Yeah.
Well,
but,
then I'm very happy to retro that in a moment.
Well,
we are dealing with a set of rules that isn't entirely well known.
I can pray again.
It's prayer. You can never pray too much. Talking of the antithesis of a Christian sort of God, Tyler, say hello and introduce us to Gildas the Fey Changeling.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and I am playing Gildas the Fey Changeling, who is one of the little people, sort of the fair folk, I suppose, more accurately, who has been placed amongst mortal kind. I do not follow the Saxon gods or the 3-in-1 Christ god. I follow the old gods, the gods of the druid, the gods of the trees, and I have some Fey glamour bits about me to do things as I need.
And last time you did invoke your Feyness to try to get a feel for what was going on, and ended up, I think, owing your Fey Lord a debt. Isn't it strange how these things happen? So those are our characters. What I think we can do, Will, with that, now that you've understood how that invoke works, that has two effects. One, every time you invoke your reputation in a game, you get an extra EP. So you can mark one extra XP, and that would turn your 6- last week into a 7 to 9. So on 7+, you hold 1 to spend to say how a vision identifies an enemy of God and gain advantage when you confront them. Okay, so you've got that. On 7 to 9, God tells you to do something you consider dishonorable during the session in return for this help. If you refuse or fail to do so, you lose your hold. Yeah. So what I'm going to assume is that that is active from now. Yeah. Fine. So you got 1 hold, but I think I will wait to see for an opportunity of what might be appropriately dishonorable. Yeah. Okay. So last time we discovered that there is an unquiet spirit. This unquiet spirit is that of Cwenthrith, the previous wife of the Saxon Lord of Aethelburh. Maybe that explains why he's so grim. It manifested when you arrived at his great hall. And what we have since discovered is that Hild was in some way responsible for that death. As an outlaw, it appears that the Saxon Lord, paid Hild, and certainly he believes that Hild murdered his wife. We don't yet know the details of that, and I'm not going to open that box yet. I want to just leave that on the shelf. And we also discovered that Cwenthrith, I think this was Eadric talking to some of the villagers, that Cwenthrith spent a lot of time around an ancient hill fort, not very far away from Aethelburh. And It felt like there was some suspicion of what she was doing up there on that ancient hill fort. I'm not sure we drew any specific conclusions, but that was the gist of it. Is there anything else? Let's go reverse. In terms of Gildas, is there anything else Gildas wants to remind us of at this point, or was that a reasonable starting point?
I think that was pretty good. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
This is the previously on Eotenweard kind of run up to titles. What about Cennus? Anything significant that we need to add to that? It does occur to me, something's occurred to me now I've looked at Cennus. Cennus knows a proud thane who serves the Saxon lord. And that thane has brought his niece to become the second wife of that lord, though they are not yet, they are betrothed but not married. What about Hild? Anything Hild want to add to this previously on?
I don't know if you mentioned it, but Woden appeared to her and said, "You got to make this right, sister." And so, yeah, she's kind of taken aback by that.
Fine. Yeah, that's right. Appeared in a dream, the way he does. And what about Eadric? Is there anything else that Eadric wants to add to this? I've thought of something. Eadric's chicken spotted something that fell out of Hild's pack when you arrived. And when that ghost appeared, a ring fell out. And so it's not clear to me yet what conclusions Eadric is drawing from that.
Oh, also I forgot, just got brought up, the alewife thinks the priest of Woden is tricking everyone.
That's right. That's right. Because he appeared to dismiss the unquiet spirit. It took him a little while to get his act together because he is old and fairly infirm. But yes, she says, oh, he does that all the time. It's all shaking the bone rattle and waving burning sticks about. It's, you know. So that is where we pick up then. And I guess what I'd like to do is to ask Eadric. Eadric, what do we see of Eadric as our episode opens?
I think he's leaving the healer's hut, looking for someone in his part. He's hoping to run into Gildas. He will stand to run into any of the others in the party.
Well, Gildas, do you want to run into Eadric?
Absolutely.
Fine. So what is Gildas doing when Eadric runs into him?
I think that, let's see, having had a rather disturbing conversation with my Fey Lord not very long ago, I think that I'm kind of at the edge of the village looking off towards where I know that hill fort is.
Go for it, Eadric. What do we see? What do we hear?
I think there's like this moment of Gildas looking out, and then like, there's a slow camera pan. We don't know how long Eadric's been standing beside him, and then of course the camera pans just a little bit lower, and the chicken's looking out at the sunset or the sun as well, and Eadric I think looks around, makes sure no one else is listening. They say the dead woman followed the old ways. Your ways, if I'm not mistaken.
I've heard this as well.
They, go on,
yes,
sorry.
Go ahead.
They're also worried that the priest is not what he seems.
Really?
More trickster than you, I'd say.
He is, as many holy men are, more fond of show than substance.
If someone was to pierce the common tactics of a charlatan, that wouldn't make them fond in his eyes.
No, I imagine not. It seems that this first wife is unquiet, despite what was said in the fest hall. I do not think that will be the last we see of her.
I would hope not. I wish to speak with her one day.
I was contemplating perhaps looking to where she fell.
That scares me, because I was thinking the same thing. And if you're getting into my head already...
Oh, let us just say that we are of similar hearts.
Now I know you have one.
That's a good point to tie that one up before we decide exactly if you're going, because I want to cut back to Cennus and Hild, who I think we last saw having a discussion in the stables, in which Hild revealed something of previous events to Cennus. Am I right?
Yeah, I called an adept, and Hild effectively gave me the true story as far as I can, remember. And Cennus is extremely disappointed in Hild, but aware of her past and
Hild
hoping.
is disappointed in your god, who seems can't stand up to Woden. Or that's how she understood the conversation. I don't exactly remember what was said, but that's what she heard. Like,
no, I remember you.
You said he can't help me.
Yeah, when I said he helps those who help themselves, you were like, it's not going to help me.
Then why do I need him? Why do I need him?
Yeah. I think, but I think what troubles Cennus most is that, pagan or no, the bond of marriage is sacred. It is older even than the bond of hospitality.
You probably haven't been married then, have you?
He looks very serious when you say that. And does not say it, bites down on something angry back to you. I must speak to the thane. I must find out what is happening here, but the unquiet dead and your hand in this. This is why we are here, Hild, for you to make atonement.
Yeah, that's usually how these things go, huh? Atonement's never really worked out for me in the past.
Have you tried?
Atonement for me has been somebody getting the better of you and then telling you to screw off.
Well, I think I'll leave it at that. I think Cennus is happy to have got through a little bit to it. In terms of what to do, what I want to do is sort of the thing. I think really it is, the thane wouldn't speak to me on the night of the arrival, the betrothal sort of celebration, but he will speak to me now.
Perhaps. So you're going in search of Madog, the proud thane?
Yes,
or the Lord? I wasn't quite certain.
The thane, I think.
Fine.
I want to lean on that relationship first.
Hild, what about you? What do you want to do next?
She wants to confront Bardwulf alone. So, at night, no one around. Yeah.
Well, I think it's not long after you've risen. So are you going to sit around all day? You're going to try and find him and try to have a discreet word with him?
Yeah, let's have a discreet word.
Okay. Yeah. And then in terms of Gildas and Eadric, what is are you indeed going to seek out this ravine?
I think so. Does that sound good to you? Yeah.
Okay. Sounds perfectly fine.
Okay. So let's begin with Cennus and Madog, the proud thane. You'll find him in the hall. He will have risen a little after you. I think he had rather more to drink last night than you did. The mead flowed, and he's sitting there with his his head in his hands, eating some bread and cheese for breakfast. What do we see?
Cennus claps a hand on it, a large hand on his shoulder, probably causing Madog to wince with the hangover, and then plunks himself down onto the seat opposite him. Grabs a trencher or whatever, and says, Madog, I see the Lord has revisited thy sins upon thee.
And what do you mean by that?
The drink, my friend, the drink.
If God had not meant men to drink, he would have not made drink.
Well,
but why are you here, Cennus? Is this about the debt I owe you?
No, Madog. This is not about the debt I owe. It is about the debt that you owe me. It is about the debt that I owe the world and the Lord.
You should have been a priest, not a warrior.
We should have all been priests rather than warriors, Madog. But the blood does not wash from our hands so easily.
Oh, God. It is like talking to a bloody priest.
Well, if you wish to spar like when we were warriors, I would be happy to join it. But you look rather worse for wear, my friend.
Not today, not today. And of course, there's tonight to look forward to.
Oh, tonight the celebrations continue.
Oh well, you probably don't count the time, but when you live with Saxons, you get used to it. Tonight is the feast of Blodmonath. They'll be slaughtering the animals for the winter.
Ah, feast then.
And just in case you get on your high Christian horse here, we will be expected to attend and show respect.
Well, my high Christian horse is currently in the stables, so I'm currently off it, Madog. Of course. But this gives us little chance to talk of what I must talk to you about, Madog.
Oh, come on, I need some fresh air. I'll talk to me as I take that air.
Yes, indeed. And as we step outside, I repeat, the dead walk, Madog.
That was not a good sign last night.
No. What do you know of this?
It resembled Bardwulf's dead wife. But why would a spirit of a dead woman come back?
And Cennus will look, just steely-eyed moment of silence for a moment at Madog, and then say, well, one reason springs to mind, Madog.
Are you trying to gauge his reaction here, or are you trying to get him to spill something? I'm not quite certain where you're aiming with this.
Well, it depends. The approach would have depended upon his response to such questions, I think. But I am ultimately gauging his reaction, or I don't think because I'm asking someone to do as I ask by invoking my belief. What I ask of them is to tell me the truth and tell me of. Do not shy away from. This is your duty to God, basically.
Okay, let's have you do as you ask. Roll plus subtle to give me a flavour of which way this conversation goes.
Well, I roll with plus steel instead of subtle when I invoke my belief.
Of course you do. Of course you do. So that high horse is not in the stable.
The high horse is always, when you don't see your own footsteps, it's because you're on the high horse. I got a 12.
Oh my goodness me. Okay, so on a 7 to right. So on 10 plus, you gain advantage as a result of their help. What do you want to know? He says. What do you want me to tell you here?
Firstly, Madog, I wish to know more than anything. Are your hands clean, my brother? In this.
What of Quenthris' death?
Yes.
Of course they're bloody clean. It was a terrible accident. She must have slipped and fallen into that ravine on the way to the hill fort, where I think she was spending rather too much time.
And the Lord.
Oh, Bardwulf.
Yes. Have there been other spirits, or did they only plague Bardwulf?
Well, they plagued us all last night, didn't they? We've not seen that before. Everyone in the hall thought it was you lot.
It was not the faces of my dead or yours, Madog. It was the faces of the Lord's wife.
Look, you know, Bardwulf is an honourable warrior, and the truth be told, I dare say the chance of a young wife like Sidwell, rather than a wife who'd not given him any sons, is probably his good fortune. But I've known him for years. He's an honourable warrior.
Okay. I think I will leave it at that, frankly, because I've gauged that Madog doesn't know anything about it, and that he believes that Bardwulf is honourable. I know and I don't want to disturb this, but I'll make a note that maybe if I need to call upon Madog to act honourably, I could act that as a hold on.
On a 12,
yeah,
they are in awe of you and owe you a debt.
Oh well, even better then. Yes, of course, he owes me an extra debt. As I clasp him on the shoulder and I say, "Do not worry, my friend. The Lord and myself. I'm sure the Lord has brought me here to ensure all things are right."
And I think there's that slightly abashed look, as though you've invoked the Lord, his God, and he looks at you as if to say, "Well, you can rely on me."
Nice.
I wouldn't act against the Lord's word.
Okay, I'm happy. My only other thing would be to go straight on at the Lord. I think that's going to escalate things massively.
Well, let's see where we get next. So Eadric and Gildas, the ravine. Anyone will point you in the direction, and you'll find yourself on the edge of this kind of crack, this granite crack, and the stream that flows through the village or by the village continues and then hits a falls and flows rapids through this narrow crevice in the rock. And this, as far as you can tell, is where she had her accident.
And the path here continues on to the hill fort?
It does.
Okay.
This is the way you go.
Eadric, I'm surprised that a path she knew so well she would slip on.
That makes sense.
It is said that the spirits, the unquiet dead, are more visible at night, but in my experience, they're more visible when they want to be and care not for night or day.
Now that's interesting. Having raised the question of unquiet spirits, I have a custom move for the ravine. You'll find it on the custom move tab. A sense of guilt. When you approach the ravine where Quenthrith died, roll plus soul. So let's start with Gildas. Roll plus soul.
Alrighty. That will give me a 12.
A 12. So on 10 plus, see the event as Hild would like to remember it. So Hild, I'm going to ask you to tell us what happened in a moment in a way that minimizes your sense of guilt and shame. Okay? But before you do that, let's have Eadric roll plus soul, because you may see different things.
I got an 8.
On 7 to 9, we'll get the same from Hild, but the GM will add to the account to maximize Hild's guilt. So Hild, it's time for us to see what actually happened, because you were given a ring by Bardwulf to ensure his wife didn't come home. You would have got more if you turned up back at the settlement, but I think our working assumption has to be that when the deed was done, you ran for it. So Hild, tell us the story as it minimizes your guilt. You are muted.
Thank you. I was also thinking that, and if this is appropriate, Bardwulf, basically she owed him a debt. We'll say she was married to a much older man that was, bad for her in some way. And this guy crossed paths with Bardwulf, and she ended up being free of him. He died. And so Bardwulf then leveraged that, saying that, I freed you. And I would say he manipulated her. Do you know what I mean? Was his intent to free her? No, but he's like, oh, now I have leverage over her. So, yeah, so she, she's basically walking with the, she was commanded to go with the wife to the hill fort. Bardwulf said to fake interest in the old gods. So I was hanging around them, and the whole time she's there, she was touched by this woman as well. This was one of the few people who really treated her as an equal.
So hang on, just so I'm clear, Quenthrith or Hild was touched, or
Yes. Yeah. Quenthrith treated Hild, maybe not, but with more respect than she's ever had before. And so she was really, and so she's just, her mind spinning the whole way. And we'll say, basically she has the ring. He gave her one of her rings before this happened, right?
Mhm.
And so she's just fumbling with it. And the wife is walking in front of her. And so Hild, she grabs her and is holding her over or near the edge, and is just saying like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And the woman's like, what's your problem? She's like, and she was gonna push her. We'll say there's some sort of scuffle. And they fall down. Hild starts crying. And the other woman comes to comfort her, and Hild lashes out at her, and that's when she ends up falling into the ravine.
okay, so that is the vision, Gildas, that you are granted. Yeah. Eadric, you see the same vision, except you see it from Quenthrith's point of view. And you see Quenthrith, she's looking into Hild's face as Hild is threatening to throw her. We see a flash over her shoulder, the falls and the rushing rapids below, 50 feet down, unsurvivable. And she's horrified. And then Hild turns away and goes onto the ground. And we see Quenthrith approach her. And then Hild turns around wild-eyed and pushes her over the edge. Okay? Any questions, Gildas?
As I see this vision, and I think I kind of shake my head, and I look towards Eadric. It was Hild.
I concur. I believe we were told by the spirits what really happened.
I would not think this of Hild. Perhaps it was an accident. Perhaps it was not fully her intent. It looked as though she had turned away from this path, but
It looked like she meant to murder, from what I saw. One does not. Oh, go on.
I would hear from Quindrith. Do you wish to see this spirit, to perhaps hear this spirit?
Eadric gets way too like starry-eyed. Do you want to see a spirit? And we skip past the Frozen likeness song, and he agrees. Yeah, like, I would greatly like to speak with her.
I
Before we meet Quenthrith, I would like to cut to Hild discovering Bardwulf pissing against the back of the hall.
Can she whip out her knife and just have him? That's how she gets his attention right there.
I think probably I want you to face danger to
Okay.
see whether he sees you coming with a knife drawn at him.
All right. Let me check. Do I have some sort of
You tell me how you're coming at it, and then you choose which attribute is appropriate.
Okay.
So,
I was just looking at thug.
Oh, so yes.
But I think yeah.
I think you have to put yourself in a position to do
Yeah.
the intimidation.
Cool. So yeah, I'll come up at him, and so I guess this is first like sneaking up on him. Well, she's not subtle, so she's not gonna, I don't think she's. Let's see.
I mean, I have to say, it sounds like steal to me.
Deal? Yeah. Okay.
From what we know of Hild,
Yeah.
This is boldly come up to him and she's on him before he knows what's happening.
Yes, I like that.
Roll plus steal.
Oh, the first one didn't roll. Let me see if I can get this. 8 + 1 is a 9.
Okay, so on 7 to 9, you do it. So you have him, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But on 7 to 9, the GM chooses you suffer harm doing it. It takes longer than you'd hoped. Respite is temporary. The risk, difficult. Oh, right. Okay.
Actually, I have a question.
Go
on. Can I assert my reputation?
Oh, you can, because this is distinctly outlawry.
Yeah.
So what you need to do then is you need to owe your god a debt. So you already owe Woden one debt. You're about to owe him a second debt.
Okay, I don't have that. I don't have the other one on here.
No, sorry, that's my fault. I moved it because each of you has at the top of the list the debt you owe your gods.
Gotcha. All right, so I'll bump that up to -2.
So that turns 7 to 9 into 10. So you are on him, and his first reaction is, just is it in his neck? Is it in his kidneys? What are we talking about?
Well, I was thinking a bit lower.
So he's relaxedly having a piss against the back of the hall, and suddenly there's a knife on his privates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Aye, don't foul yourself there, Bardwulf.
You stupid woman! What are you doing?
What did you have me do? Who was that woman?
What?
You've angered her by now marrying a Christian wife? What? Boy, you just can't find a good pagan woman. You've really pissed off Woden, haven't you?
Are you raising your voice to that degree?
Aye. It's my voice or my hand. Which one is it?
And he says, look, I give you a ring to do away with somebody. Okay? You took the ring. You took the reward. She's gone. What?
But
our business is finished.
You didn't see her in the meeting hall?
Look, that doesn't concern you.
Woden spoke to me. Whatever you did, you pissed him off.
Now, I think now you're in a place where you have significant leverage if you wanted to apply thug.
Okay, excellent.
But what do you want him to do?
Okay. Also, I have insight.
You do?
So yeah, let me see. Maybe I can do. Okay. How about I use insight, and that will. I think ultimately what she wants to know is to. Does Bardwulf know something? You know, is there some? Yeah. Is there more connection? Is there more story behind this?
Okay.
She feels like he might. He set her up.
Okay. So you want to use your gift.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll find it in the basic moves. When you call on your gods to empower your gift and pay them with blood or honor, say what success looks like. You've just told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Either mark wounded or owe your gods a debt.
Is having 3 debts to your gods a bit silly, or is that acceptable?
I mean, at some point, Woden may start calling them in, Hild.
That's for future Hild to worry about.
Yeah, and we know that Hild lives in the now.
Yes.
So increase your debt to Woden, and roll with soul.
All right. Soul is 0. And I guess there's no bonuses I can.
Sadly, no.
Just. Oh, a 6. That's nice.
Okay. So you don't succeed. But that is the point when Madog comes round the corner to have a piss.
All right.
What do you do, Hild, as you hear Madog drawing his knife?
She slaps on Bardwulf and is like, gotcha, didn't I? You must be distracted by that new young wife of yours.
I think that is undoubtedly face danger using subtle to lie.
Okay.
But do mark experience for that 6.
Okay. And then also address a challenge with guile or no?
Have you got? Sorry, what?
That's under experience.
Oh yeah, mark that. You certainly. Okay. Well, let's see if it works first, shall we?
Okay. Yeah.
So face danger to have Bardwulf go along, but you're using subtle on Madog.
Oh man, I don't like this at all. All right.
Don't worry, future Hild will deal with it.
10 minus 1, so that's a 9.
Okay.
She's growing as a person.
So you do it. Madog seems to be taken in. But I think that what it takes is Bardwulf to join in and say, and push you away. And he gives you a steely eye, which says, you bring a blade near me again, and I will skin you alive.
Gotcha.
And he and Madog laughing go away. And you see Bardwulf look over his shoulder, so you know. Okay.
All right. Hild feels like everyone's against her now. Like Bardwulf's after her, Wotan's after her. Yeah. So, all right.
Let's go back to the ravine where I asked Gildas if there were questions Gildas had.
Yeah, and I was going to attempt to see if I could speak to Quenthrith.
How are you going to do that?
I am going to invoke my gift. And as I look over, I've gotten Eadric knowing what's going to happen. I pull my knife and put it to my hand, and you see me cut deeply into it as I wound myself.
And that means you mark wounded. Now you'll notice there are 3 levels of harm. The middle one is wounded. So mark wounded, and roll plus soul.
All righty.
To see how this goes.
That's a 12.
That's pretty good then. So what do we actually see? Because we've got a special effects budget. How do you want to spend it when your sight is activated?
Okay. we see the cut and we see the blood run down his hand as he holds it kind of over the top of where the ravine is. And we've got the kind of mists of the water rising up. And as the blood drips into it, we begin to see the mist turn red and begin to swirl and form up. Perhaps, I don't know if it's only going to be me to see it. It might be more fun if Eadric gets a chance.
I think that given you rolled a 12, there's undoubtedly an effect here. So on 10 plus, you choose whether the gift continues to have an effect for a further action, has a broader effect than even you had hoped for, or leaves the foe in the scene with disadvantage. I think this is...
Oh, definitely the middle one. Yeah, that's by far and away the worst.
And on a 12 plus, you could choose a second option from the 10 plus list, if that's of interest.
Let's get that another action one on there.
Okay, so you've got more time with Quenthrith, and indeed the same face that you saw in the smoke and flames and mist around in the center of the hall the night before forms out of this blood-tinged mist, and these empty kind of eyes look at you.
Quenthrith.
What seek you, Fae? Eadric, you see this, you hear this. But I'll start with Gildas.
Quenthrith, you have my sympathies. I am sorry this fate has befallen you. You walk now. You do not choose to go on. Why do you stay? What is it that you seek?
I seek that which my lord asked me to seek.
What is that?
I seek the ancient talisman.
Ah. At the fort. Is that where it is said to lie?
That is where it was taken from, stolen from my lord. I am bound to it and finding it, or I cannot rest.
I will try to help you.
Eadric, any reaction from you?
Besides some commoner slack face, yeah, I think he finally comes to and steps forward. I will not waste your time with pleasantries. How may we put you to rest? How may we be of service?
The relic, until it is returned, I am bound to this earth.
Who possesses it?
I do not know, or I would have found it. Gildas, can I just ask if this is ringing any bells?
Yeah, I mean, if it's up at the fort, then there's almost certainly something to do with my people.
Well, I want to go further than that because you've been to that old hill fort before, haven't you?
So is this what I recovered possibly for their priest?
You might say that. I couldn't possibly comment. Until the relic is returned, my lord's command binds me. Eadric, any final remarks before the mist disperses?
I will see you laid comfortably to rest, if possible.
Well, that's a suitable qualification.
Yeah, he makes no promises. There's a fae around.
Gildas, you summoned her. I think it is down to you to finish this conversation in any way you like.
We will find what you seek. To whom must it be returned? Your husband or you?
My lord, return it to my lord. And she's gone.
Eadric, it would seem we have a task that has brought us here.
It seems we have something to do beyond revenge. I'm surprised.
As am I, honestly. I think I know where it is.
Yeah, I think that Eadric is just looking over interestingly as the camera pans or whatever.
Let's cut to Cennus. Hild disappeared off after you left the stable, Cennus, and Madog reappears from behind the back of the Lord's Hall with Bardwulf. And I just wasn't certain whether you were serious about wanting to seek out Bardwulf. I wanted to give you the opportunity if you want to.
No, I wasn't serious about that. I feel as though it can only end in more death, and that is the last thing I want here.
Okay, well, we are just about on 1 hour, so I'm going to suggest we take a break now until 5 past the hour. Is that long enough? Fine. I'll see you at 5 past the hour. Okay, we're back from our break. So a lot has gone on in before our commercial break. You know, a certain amount of confrontation, a certain amount of information gleaned. I think I'd like to put you all back around on a bench around the Great Hall's table, one of the tables in the Great Hall, just so there's an opportunity to share. And the way I'd like to do this is, rather than have you simply recount it, is there anything, Gildas, that you don't share with Hild or Cennus? And how do you react to Hild?
I think I'm going to start off with a kind of Hild, I know what you did sort of thing.
I know what you did last summer.
Yeah. And want to hear your side. I'm not immediately jumping on, you know, you're a horrible murderer, darn you. But it maybe hear your side, but I will spell out and looking over to Eadric to, you know, supplement, add in what he thinks.
Eadric, can I ask you, because you got a subtly different perspective from that vision than Gildas did.
I am very cold towards Hild, but that is the extent of it, as she could kill me and she's killed before. So I'm not going to be sassy.
Okay. So Hild, I'm assuming that what you tell Gildas is what we see in the vision. And just to remind our viewers, you know, we will see that reprised. It was an accident.
What I was thinking is, can I require Hild Gildas to pay a debt?
You can always ask someone to pay a debt.
I guess I owe them. So would this be like, what I'm thinking is Hild isn't really one to just open right up. It doesn't have to be the debt thing, but that's one up.
I mean, I think that given that we in the audience now know what Gildas thinks happens, do you say it wasn't like that? Because that's the most positive view.
I gotcha. So he opens up saying, "This is what I know, so I can't really deny it or anything like that." Gotcha. Okay. Let me think. Hild. Well, how do you say it? Guild. It sounded like you were kind of more understanding.
I was certainly wanting to get your opinion. It's,
Yeah.
I saw this happen. Was it an accident?
Yeah. Yeah. And Hild, she like gets really open, just like stunned, like deer in the headlights. And then she starts like shaking a little bit, and she's just like, I mean, I almost don't know. He sent me to do it. He sent me to kill her. I don't know why. Who is this woman? And I realized what I was doing, and I stopped, and then all of a sudden I realized she fell down. And
Well,
I'm sitting here with her ring. And I'll even put that out there. I can't I can't get rid of it. I look at this ring every day and I think of her.
well, you have the luxury, it would seem, Hild, of being able to make amends to this spirit.
Everyone keeps saying atone, make amends. What does this mean?
It
To make
means
amends is they push you into the mud and then laugh in your face.
it means making up for your mistake, Hild. It means fixing what you caused.
Can anything be fixed in life?
It means doing something for someone besides yourself for once.
What? Hey! You like your chicken? You like your chicken? Huh?
Exactly what I mean.
And when the voices are raised, you see other people in the hall looking over. And one of the servants will see the sign and will bring some ale over. I think, Gildas, given that we're in a slightly heightened emotional state around the table, this might be a good time for you to roll for seeming human.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Alrighty. What am I rolling with that?
You're rolling plus soul.
Plus soul. Okay. At least I'm good at it.
Actually, I did have a question. Do we
Well,
know?
Hang on a second. Let me deal with Gildas's roll.
Certainly.
Then I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I got a 15.
Oh well, that's really quite solid. So on 10 plus, your outward appearance is seamlessly maintained. Sorry, back to Hild.
Do we know, or who knows Gildas's nature?
Oh, my assumption is everybody knows.
Oh, we all know.
You
Okay,
know.
excellent.
You know and
Yeah.
trust one another.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool.
So the ale appears. There's a kind of pause while the servant puts the horn cups down and walks away, just to give temperatures a chance to fall back down. Cennus, what is your reaction to all of these disclosures?
I don't think it's changed either way, whether it was intentional or not. It was certainly, the blood is still on Hild's hands, whether you meant it or not. But it is also upon Bardwulf's hands, because Hild was simply the weapon. But the priority is to make sure that the dead can sleep before anything else.
So, Eadric, do you have any view on how you help? Because you want to do what you told her. You do everything you could to help her rest. Do you have an approach to how you're going to do this?
Gildas said that he believes he knows where to get the relic, or at least something. And I'm going. I think Eadric will look at Cennus and just frustratedly at Hild. We may have a way to make the dead sleep. It is something that is this recompense that of putting her to rest should fall upon at least one of us. But since we are kin, we can help each other.
Gildas, I'm curious. Do you, when that comes up, do you spill on what you think?
So she's like, okay, it's decided. We all kill Bardwulf.
Hild, We are not compounding one mistake with another. It is, I believe, fortunate, and I'll look over towards Cennus. The spirit does not seek vengeance upon those that murdered her.
Don't say that. She was the nicest person I've ever met in my life. She's the only one who treated me with any sort of compassion.
Remind me to be mean to you.
Think you are doing quite
you
well
watch
there.
out. You like your chicken?
Hild, please. Cennus is literally like, I don't know how many times to keep telling you this.
Hild, this is something that I think you're going to have to live with. You have done. If someone was kind to you and you were willing, even after you had second thoughts, the cause was still yours. But you can make this right. I know where this relic is. And you have the best skills to retrieve it quietly and easily, and this time, perhaps with no bloodshed.
I thank you, Gildas. I must admit, I appreciate everything you've all have done for me. You are the first to ever have accepted me and I thank you for not turning your back on me at this time. And hopefully I can repay this.
Gildas.
Yes, yes.
Did not Gwynfrith say the relic was at the fort?
She said she had been looking for it there and had not found it, and I know why. It is not there.
Indeed. Where does it? Who has it now?
The priest.
And how come you of this?
Because I found it for him and gave it to him.
Well, thank you for your honesty, Gildas.
I knew nothing of its nature. I merely was told there was something there, and I found it. Now, realizing where it belongs.
The trickster tricked. I never thought I would see the day.
Hild, yes, go ahead.
I do want to remind you, those debts are there for you to use. So, keep an eye on your debt position. They are there to be called in. But, sorry, Gildas.
Yes, Hild. You need to steal it from this priest and return it to the Lord.
Whoa, wait. To atone, I just have to steal something?
It is a first step, I would say.
Huh. I never realized it worked that way.
I mean, being sorry would also probably help somewhat.
You don't tell me what to feel.
And I will sort of laugh at that.
Yeah. Okay. And this will make it right if we return this talisman.
It will put the dead to rest, and I'll look again towards Cennus. I think that is our duty here.
But what of Bardwulf?
He will face justice.
I leave justice for the Lord in others' hands. And that is not my place particularly.
Does your God deal out justice? Cennus?
Just nods somberly.
And I'm sorry I threatened your chicken, Eadric.
Apologize to the chicken as well.
What's the chicken's name again?
Oh dear, I've never named the chicken.
It's
Um,
the chicken.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like coup in Gaelic. It literally just translates to the chicken.
The chicken. The chicken. I'm sorry. You're a fine member of our party.
And the chicken cocks its head at you and gives you a single eye.
Mm.
I'm inclined to cut to the Blodmonath ritual. Yeah?
Oh, I mean, it seems like a perfect opportunity for someone to go rooting around somewhere, right?
Wouldn't it just? Wouldn't you think that? So, all of you have an understanding of this, and it is the time of year when the Saxons or anyone would be slaughtering their animals and then curing the meat for the winter to keep them alive in the winter so they can't feed them, so they don't have to feed them. So that will proceed over the next week. But tonight there is a ceremony in which the lord of the village, Bardwulf, will, with the priest of Woden, slaughter an ox. And we'll have seen in the background, wood being collected for a large bonfire on the edge of the village. And so as dusk falls, the Lord and all his retainers and the villagers all move to the bonfire, which the priest of Woden, Elfgar, ritually begins the fire. Yeah. Cennus, are you there?
Yes, I think I'm definitely not helping breaking into anywhere.
Eadric, are you there?
Yes, I think I have an idea to make a spectacle if needed.
Okay. Gildas, are you there?
Yeah, unless Hild needs my help, I will be at the feast.
And Hild, are you there, or are you on the edge of the crowd, or what?
She's edge of the crowd. She wants to have people see her and then leave to go steal this item and make everything hunky dory.
Okay. So the ritual begins with with the bonfire being started. There is a light rain, and it takes a little while for the bonfire to take. It's been a cold day. It's winter. It's the start of winter. There may even be some flakes of snow falling, and so there is a kind of expectant silence while people hope and pray that the gods look kindly on this and allow the bonfire to start roaring. And you can see Bardwulf is looking, at Elfgar as if to say, the fire's not starting. And Elfgar is looking worried, and he's got a bone rattle and some burning sticks, and he's waving these around the bonfire, moving around the bonfire, calling on the gods to recognize the fire, to spot what's happening at Aethelburh, that they would see this bonfire. And then just as people are beginning to murmur, the bonfire takes and begins to burn. And there's a kind of audible sigh of relief as people now realize that the Saxon gods are looking at Aethelburh. Their attention has been drawn. And Elfgar is offering thanks to Woden and the other gods. And then an ox is brought up to the fire. And Bardwulf says, I commit this sacrifice to Woden. And he draws his sword and he brings it down on the head. And blood begins to flow from the severed arteries and veins. And Elfgar is there with a great bowl, and he's collecting the blood in this copper bowl. And then as the blood flow begins to staunch and this begins to overflow, his hands are dripping with blood, he ritually goes to the fire and throws it into the flames, offering it to the gods. And then everyone else who's brought a pot comes and starts collecting the blood. Cennus, what's your reaction to these kind of pagan rituals?
There were rituals that I once followed, or at least paid lip service to, when in the service of King Beda. I simply stand aside, secure in my own faith, and knowing that ultimately all things come to the Lord.
And Madog catches your eye across the bonfire, as if to say, be calm. Eadric, what's your reaction to this? You will have been part of these kind of rituals. You're a pagan Saxon by heritage. What are you feeling? The same relief people are feeling that this sacrifice appears to be accepted?
I'm glad the gods seem satisfied, though I take like the act of the fire barely starting as kind of like a shows Bardwulf what he's getting. It's an ill omen, but it's going at least.
And Gildas, what about you? Because this is a pagan ritual, but it's not the right kind of pagan ritual.
I think that the excitement of it, the kind of ritual, I enjoy, but I am paying special attention to looking over at Sidwell, and that the new wife to be, and trying to gauge both kind of how she's reacting to it, and maybe even trying to catch her eye if she looks over in my direction, give a little smile, my green eyes flashing a bit.
I think probably you can see she's fascinated by the flow of the blood. She's drinking it in. And then she sees you through the flames and you smile at her. And it's like she's been caught out. And she looks away from you and from it. And takes on an appropriately demure eyes down look. Hild, what are you doing at this point? Everybody's seen you, but now, people are going forward with the bowls, activities going on.
Yeah. She never has liked these rituals just because it's a communal thing that her family was kind of ostracized from, living on the outskirts. So they always feel a little weird to her. But yeah, she sees everyone is taken with this, the ritual. So she's going to sneak off and try to make things right.
Okay, so you know where Aelfgar sleeps in the hall. In that corner in front of the seat of judgment, the Lord's seat of judgment, is where he beds down. And you've seen that he's got some bags there that clearly are his possessions. So let's cut to you entering Bardwulf's hall. The fire is stoked, ready for the feast that will follow. What do we see?
Yeah, so she creeps in. Let me see if she has any. Yeah, so she creeps in and so she looks around if she sees anyone, and she'll even say something like, "Hey, anybody here?" Or she doesn't say that, but she's like, "Hey, you're wanted at the festival."
Okay.
To see if anyone answers. Yeah.
Okay, and I think probably one of Bardwulf's slaves, who has probably been left to make some final preparations in the hall, will come out from behind a curtain and say, "Where does my lord wish me to go?"
Yeah, he needs you. And I'll say not. Let me see who's. Yeah, we'll just say. I'll just say Elfgar said that everyone needed to be at the fire.
Oh, very well. And they will scurry off because they know their place. Leaving the hall apparently empty. What do you do?
All right, I'm going to actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to run back with the slave, run with them for a bit, and then say, "Oh, I got to go over here to tell some other people."
Okay, I think we're probably getting into face danger here, aren't we?
Okay. Yeah, let's do
just
it.
to see if anything goes wrong with this heist.
Yes.
So I think this is steel again. I think this is nerve rather than the subtlety of your tongue. So
right.
roll plus steel, unless you've got a better offer in a move.
Nope. I got a 9 total.
Okay, so we see you then. You're in the hall. You're searching through his stuff. Yeah. We cut back to the bonfire, where the head of the ox has now been severed, while other villagers are beginning to gut it. And the head is severed, and Aelfgar has got the head, and he puts it down on the ground and summons forward the smith, who is the strongest of the commoners. And the smith has a big axe, and he strikes both the horns from the head. And then Aelfgar, Woden, smile upon us, and he throws the head into the bonfire. And there is that smell of sizzling blood and burning meat. And Hild, you can't find it. It's taking longer than you planned. They'll be back soon. It's not there. You are muted. It's not in those bags.
What? So she gets a little, frustrated, and she's not really all about emotional control. So she might get a little rough with things. God damn it. She blames Gildas. She's like, "Gildas, you told me it was gonna be here."
Unfortunately, Gildas is, as far as I know, still watching your back.
So can she pray to Woden? Or, she's like, "Woden, I'm trying to make this right."
Are you telling me you want to invoke your reputation as an outlaw and pay Woden a debt? Oh, Woden a debt. Another debt.
All right, I'm just gonna see how many, what the spreadsheet allows. How many?
It goes down quite a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. This is like partly playtest, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If I can,
let's push
credit
Woden
card
as
bill
far
never
as we
comes
can.
due, then let's do it.
Okay. So that improves that to a 10, which we get from it takes longer than you'd hoped to success. You find it now, Gildas. I've put a picture of this necklace in the Faces and Places. It's a moonstone. And the thing is, Hild, Gildas has described what you're looking for, and you find the little kind of cord that it's supposed to be on, but the little net that held it has been cut, and the moonstone is not there. You have found the necklace, but the moonstone is not still attached to it.
Yeah, she throws it down, and she's like, "Okay, all right." She looks around at other stuff. She's thinking, who would want this? Can I use my insight?
You can always.
Oh, but that's another
insight.
debt. All right, I'm done with these debts. Yeah. That's we're not doing. Oh no, I can take a wound.
You can. You can wound yourself. You can sacrifice blood instead of honor.
All right. She says, "Woden and Cennus and Gildas, I'm trying here. Okay, I'm trying." Yeah.
Fine. Then that gives you access to use your gift. Roll plus soul.
Roll plus soul. 7.
That's not bad. On a 7, you succeed. Yeah. On 7 to 9, the GM chooses one from you attract unwelcome attention. Your gift has a broader effect than you had desired, or your gift takes more from you than you had expected. Choose disadvantage or mark wounded again. I'm going to give you the option on be disadvantaged for the next thing you do.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Or take another wound.
Well, we'll just take disadvantaged.
Okay. So so you succeed, and what you see is what Woden grants you in response to the sacrifice of blood you've made to him. And it's almost as though we are now going back and forth between the kind of smatterings of blood that everyone who collects a bowl from the ox and they throw the blood into the fire, and your hand is bleeding and you flick it into the hall's fire, and we're flicking back and forth between those things. And what you see in the flames is Aelfgar in the dead of night with the moonstone, cutting it free, and then saying, "Yes, Lord, I will take it to where you told me." Seem fair for insight?
Say it again.
Is that okay in terms of what insight you gain?
Yeah, sounds good.
And then I think you have time to get back outside and appear to join the crowd who return to the hall. Who do you walk back with, Cennus?
Walk back with?
Yeah, from the bonfire back to the hall, because the ox is now being slaughtered and being brought back to have cuts to feed the village. Or you're not bothered?
I'm not bothered.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're back in the hall. Hild comes to sit beside you, and I'm guessing, Hild, you have some words for Gildas. Just as well they're muted, I think.
Yeah. She sits down, and she just is kind of like cursing under her breath. She's like,
Were
"It's
you
not
successful?
there. It's not there. He cut it. He returned it to. He put it somewhere. Some ritual. I found the necklace, but no moonstone."
That is unfortunate.
But I tried.
You did, and that is admirable. I had hoped to not have to inquire of my friend the priest, but it seems that I may have to.
Eadric, what about you? What reaction do you have to the this heist having not gone entirely to plan?
I think Eadric, if he hears this and knows that the priest has been the one we've been suspecting, he'd want to have words with Cennus. And he's I think sitting down. The chicken is I think he's been like holding the chicken all night because this service, he doesn't want anything to happen, and I think it might be prudent to have a theological conversation with the resident priest and you.
Yes, but to accuse him of anything would be to accuse Hild.
I don't mean for you to accuse him of anything, but I do need someone who is more threatening than myself.
Well, you have the chicken, Eadric.
I'm afraid she's not one for bloodshed.
Well, I will stand with you as always, Eadric, although I will try to hold my tongue. But, the Lord's murder of his own wife is a sin against all gods.
I know.
So it sounds like we're looking for an opportunity to confront Elfgar.
Yes.
And that doesn't come until quite late on in the feast, I think, because ale and mead will be served. And just as people have sated their initial kind of hunger and thirst, Bardwulf bangs on the table at the top of the hall. No, he'll have Madog do it for him. And there's a kind of, whoa, what? And gradually the conversation in the hall dies down. And Madog says, "Your lord would speak." And Bardwulf stands and he says, "The gods have received our offering. They have promised to protect us through this winter. And so this is the time, I think, when it is proper for me to take Sidwell as wife." And he holds out his hand and she puts his hand in his. Aelfgar, bring the blessing. And Aelfgar, he's still got the copper bowl, the congealing blood in the heat, and he draws his finger around it and he draws a line across Sidwell's forehead and another line across Bardwulf's forehead and says, "And they are man and wife."
Oh, before this happens, may I interject to give our party some... I believe the lady should have one final dance before her maidenhead is offered to you, my lord. Just one.
Oh, I think you just put yourself at risk by confronting your betters, by the way. I think that I need to know how he reacts to this. So I'm assuming that you are doing this politely and with all the mellifluousness of your that you have at your disposal. That sounds like face danger with subtle to me.
I will risk it. Oh, and I risked poorly. That is a 5.
Oh.
Unless I can
you can always invoke. This is the kind of thing commoners do all the time. It's why there are so few of them about.
Yes, I will invoke my reputation. I mean, I am a man of the people, and I am an honorable person. This cannot be a double-faced offer.
And so what? You wrap it around with, "I know it's not my place, but I seek your permission." All of that stuff. And so owe your god a debt. God's a debt, and that becomes 7 to 9, which is yes, but. And I think the yes, but is that I think you suffer harm, because when the Lord said, "Yes, and let us test his mettle on as he comes to offer my betrothed a dance," and so warriors form a kind of a passage for you to reach, and they all beat you around the back. So I think you need to mark wearied. Okay. It won't last long, don't worry. But you get to dance with Sidwell, and we don't have a bard or a scop or a scald as an NPC, but someone will start tapping on them.
Oh, this is going to take a while because I need to invoke my gift now.
Go ahead.
Let's try different dice and re-roll these.
So will you wound yourself again, or will you owe your gods a debt to invoke to use your gift?
I think I'm going to wound myself again with and I think I got a 6.
No. All told, or plus your soul.
My soul is 0.
Okay, so on a 6, so you were hoping to keep her dancing a long time. I take it here, the boundless vitality. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that it looks like it's going to work, but then Bardwulf, Cennus, you'll notice this. Bardwulf is getting increasingly irate, and steps around the Lord's table and punches you, Eadric. So I'm going to give you another box to tick on condition.
I step right in between the two of them immediately.
Okay, what, before the blow lands?
Oh, I could do that, couldn't I? Protect someone. Is
You
that
could
a thing? Yeah, I'd like
confront
to
a
do
foe
that.
with the intention to protect.
Yeah, I'd like to do that, yeah.
Okay, confront a foe with violence, roll plus steal. Let's hope this doesn't go badly.
That's 13.
It didn't go badly.
No, which I think is that catching his hand, you know, like as it's like about to, as he grabs hold of Eadric and is about to just grab that hand and pull him off.
Okay, now on a 7+, you inflict harm as established and they choose one from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Force you to where you suffer disadvantage, wrong foot you and flee, inflict harm on you, take something other than your life from you.
But I got a 11 on the dice and a 13. So
Yeah,
12
you'll
plus.
get to do something on a 10+
Oh,
at
yes.
the moment. So I think that he will force you to where you suffer disadvantage, which
Okay.
is, I think that you're a younger and bigger man than him. And I think you take him and you push him away, and he will put you at social disadvantage. You have laid hand on a lord. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can choose one from the 10+, and then, or add the 12+s to the list of things you can choose.
Okay.
Say what harm is deflected from someone else to you.
Yeah, I suppose that's the right one, isn't it? I say what harm is deflected from someone else to me, and I also do I choose 2 then? Is that the
No, you just
the
get
one? I see.
4 on the
Oh, well,
list.
I block my foe's blows and I suffer no harm at all. Is that
Oh,
not?
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine, spot on.
Yeah.
And so Eadric is kind of cowering when you step between and just hold the hand. But that will put you at social disadvantage. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You won't be welcome here tomorrow.
Of course. Yes. But as I say, my lord, if you must strike someone, then strike me instead of my friend.
And you can see Madog is looking on in horror as the Lord, because the Lord's the only one wearing a sword today.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Madog, you can see that his hand is going for his sword. What do you do?
I kneel in penitence, and I say, I'm willing to take whatever punishment you would have dealt my friend for daring to dance with your wife for daring to dance with Sidril before she became your wife. But I ask that I ask that you spare him harm. Basically, I am just saying that I am a man of God, and I will take whatever's there. You know.
The reason I introduced Madog there was I wasn't sure whether you wanted Madog to intervene.
No, I don't want Madog to.
Okay.
I think I'm mostly just trying to establish that I will stop anyone from hurting him, but I am not challenging Bardwulf in his own home. You know.
Fine.
So it'd be dishonorable to really do anything too severe.
Then roll plus subtle to face this danger then. How convincing are your words?
Would that be a face danger or a do as you ask?
I think face danger.
Fair enough. Well, I fail that.
Really?
Yeah, 6. And I would have disadvantage, correct? Anyways.
You are at disadvantage.
Yeah. So I would definitely fail because I have a -1 in subtle. So.
Oh my. Men appear from out of and they grasp you. And they make moves towards the other 3 of you. And it's clear they're going to throw you out of the hall and out of the village. Is anyone going to object or confront this? Gildas?
Yeah. I'm going to kind of, as they're moving up, move closer to the Lord, and kind of to get his attention, and kind of look him in the eye, and I'm going to attempt to fascinate him.
Okay. I think I need you to face danger to get there, because
Okay.
he and Cennus and Eadric are up by the top table. You are not on the top table. So you need to get past the people who are coming between you and Hild and them, who are going to throw you out. So I think face danger. This sounds like steel, really, to just brazen it through, or...
Okay. I am not good at that. I got an 8.
Well, that's not so bad. So you do it, but you're going to need some help. Hild, what do we see you doing that might help Gildas not get confronted by these folks?
Well, she's confused because usually she's the one that's getting in trouble. And now she's just like, wait, what? So just want Gildas was successful, but there was complications.
There are going to be complications, and what I think it says is something like respite is temporary and risk difficulty. The situation you're facing will return. The question is whether you want to help, whether you want to step in and do something using the help move. When you say how you help another hero after their roll
Gotcha.
plus subtle for social or steal for other interventions.
Okay.
Because you're the only person who could, I guess.
Yeah. I'll help. I'm not the subtle way. How about she shows her toughness in the sense that not that I'm gonna attack you, but like don't mess with a cornered animal kind of thing.
Okay. Now the reason I've gone for this is there a possibility of this increasing the outcome by an entire step. Mm-hmm. So it's worth a shout.
Yeah.
So roll plus steal.
Oh, but I am disadvantaged.
Oh, you are. Yeah, you are. Do you still want to try?
Why not? This is, Hild she's done enough character growth that,
we know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
Okay, roll 3 dice, take the bottom 2.
Hey, no good deed goes unpunished, or... look at that. Look at that. You all doubt Hild, but she, maybe she should just go solo. She might be more, so yeah, she gets an 8.
That will only add
a 9. That's a 9.
Okay, that will only add 1 to Gildas, which is not enough, I think, to make a difference.
Oh, okay.
But it's the thought that counts.
So Gildas is a complete waste of her time. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because Gildas
you didn't make it worse.
You didn't make it worse. So there are some consequences, which is that you will both be thrown out violently after this move, Gildas, unless something changes. So tell me about Fascinate.
I need to. I stare a mortal in the eyes, and will need to roll with soul, and then I can possibly have them do what I ask.
Well, what's not to like?
What's not to like? So, rolling with soul. That's a 10.
That is exactly what you wanted. You hold 2. Spend holes to apply the 10 plus result to have them do as you ask, which is that he will do as you ask. So what do you ask Bardwulf to do, Gildas?
Great Lord, so much drink, so much festivities. I beg of you, show kindness to your guests. We meant no offense, only to join with your settlement in this joyful moment of your wedding.
And the sword slides back into the scabbard, and he says, he looks down at Cennus, looks at Eadric, and says, "You have drunken too much. Go back to your seats."
Thank you, Lord.
Now you have another hold on that Fascinate. It won't roll over beyond the feast, but it is there, Gildas.
Okay.
Yeah. So we now see you all back at the at your end of the table, while the hand fasting now is officially blessed by Aelfgar, who comes up and he finishes the ceremony and declares them to be husband and wife. And more toasting, more feasting. Everyone's getting slightly drunk. Hild, are you getting drunk?
Yes.
That will explain the disadvantage when the time comes then.
Yeah.
Eadric, what about you?
Not anymore. Screw this.
What kind of party is this? Gildas, what about you?
I'm drinking moderately.
Okay. And Cennus, what about you?
No.
No, of course not. Still on the horse. Okay. So I'm going to go to Gildas next because I'm curious about, given now that the moonstone is is not where it was supposed to be, or not where you hoped it would be. What are you thinking, Gildas?
I'm going to have to go speak to the priest, I think.
And that would seem to me to be the logical place as we see Gildas get up and look across the hall at where a slightly merry Aelfgar is regaling people with stories of his long life. And he turns around, he sees you coming, and your eyes meet. And I think we'll have a 5-minute commercial break there. Back on the hour. I'll see you then. Okay, we're back from our final break. And so we have seen Gildas catch Aelfgar's eye. And I think Aelfgar knows something is coming because he knows he owes you a debt. And he's been waiting for that shoe to fall, I think, since you walked into this hall. So what do we see, Gildas?
I will move up close to him and, my friend, may I have a word with you privately?
And he kind of, he really doesn't want to speak to you because, you know, there was that thing between you and he knows it still sits between you, but now is not the time to discuss it. But he doesn't have alternative. So, all right, I'm guessing you're not giving him an alternative.
No. It seems like our welcome is not long.
I think in the hubbub of, you know, everyone in the village, apart from a couple of people just keeping an eye outside, everyone in the village is in this hall now. You know, there are people standing about, sitting about, shouting, telling stories, singing. And so you can converse in plain sight, or do you want to go somewhere?
I'll move us just somewhere here in the hall that's a little away from some darkened corner. There's always a nice darkened corner.
That corner. Lots of people between you and the firelight. Fine.
Yeah.
Eadric, you see Gildas go to do this. Is there anything you want to do that might be backing up Gildas or anything else? Or just observing?
I think I will be making moves towards Gildas, but like early on, like I think Eadric is trying to act like a supplicant, like he knows his place this time as he's getting over there, trying not to make a scene of, you know, beelining.
Fine. I'm almost afraid to ask what Hild's doing.
Yeah, Hild. I think Hild is actually, we'll say, a little subdued at this time, right? You said she drank a lot, so maybe she's a little bit, you know, she's off the buzz, so just kind of quiet, maybe a little sad, and worried that Woden might show up again, since this is a religious feast.
Cennus, what about you? What do we see as we see these two come together?
I think that I pushed my luck before. I'm happy that it was resolved peacefully, and I will simply be alert for anything that's about to happen.
Fine. So Gildas, Elfgar says, what do you want, Gildas?
I want to help you.
What do you mean, help me?
We saw last night the unquiet dead. They will be returning.
But Woden empowered me to see it off.
You and I both know how successful that was.
What do you mean?
She will return, and your powers have been failing you, priest.
Yes, but Woden has promised that he will return to me.
Is that what you needed the relic for?
Yes. Woden had not answered my calls, but then in a dream he came to me. Woden himself, he came to me, and he told me where I would find that moonstone, and but I was afraid to go to the fort. It has a bad reputation.
And so you sent me.
I asked you to go, Gildas. You said yes. I told you where to find it. You brought it to me. And I took it to where Woden told me to take it.
But Woden asked you to get it.
But he's promised that he will. He helped me last night.
I helped you last night.
I think now how his jaw drops and his eyes, and he suddenly realizes that this is the truth. And that Woden has not come to him again, has not empowered him again. And he just doesn't know what to do.
You must give me the moonstone.
But I don't have it.
Tell me where you put it. I will return it to where it belongs. And then perhaps you can fulfill the oath you gave Woden.
But Woden, he told me I must not say where it had gone to anyone. And you say it wasn't Woden, or Woden is not to be trusted. But I trust Woden. I have always trusted Woden. I have spent a life trusting Woden. I will continue to trust Woden.
I fear that it was not Woden that spoke to you.
Now you speak. Now you speak of the old gods, and I will hear nothing of that. I think we're reaching a point, Gildas, where either you're going to have to ask him politely to do this, or you're going to
I'm going to call it the debt.
Okay, so when you call in a debt, you can ask him to do all kinds of stuff. Do something else specific that the GM agrees is appropriate. Honestly answer the holder's question.
Yes. Tell me where it is.
And it's clear that he knows that you are calling in that debt of honor, and I buried it at the base of one of the standing stones.
Thank you. What was between us is no more. You are free of your debt.
And I hope never to see you again. And he turns and goes back to the crowd, where he, clearly false-facing. He tries to be happy, but we can see that his heart isn't in it anymore.
And I'll head back towards Cennus and the others.
And I think that probably that is our feast done. Unless anyone else says anything, because Hild is in her cups. Eadric is minding his manners. Cennus has pushed his lack and is keeping his head down. And Gildas comes back with this. So I'm inclined to cut to the following morning.
That sounds fine. I would like, do you have something, Sawyer?
Eadric?
I would like, during the course of this feast, though, several times to try and catch eye with the bride-to-be again. Just, a smile, a look, that sort of thing.
I think the impression we get is that she fears that you know something, but she doesn't know what you know. Mm-hmm. But clearly she has something that she does not want you to know. You do have a remaining hold on the Fascinate with Bardwulf.
Oh, that's true. I should use that. I will go over and thank him again for the hospitality of the settlement, and will drink to his favor, and then and if I may, drink to the health and hopeful fertility of your beautiful bride.
And how do you want to use the fascinate?
Just to allow him to have him allow me to get close enough to her that we're pretty close without it setting off any of his bells.
Fine. And so he does indeed allow you to get closer than he was prepared to let Eadric get. So what do you want to do with that closeness?
As I toast, and as he's drinking, I will look to her and say, "You are very beautiful. I hope your husband appreciates that, as others could." And give her a fairly mischievous smile.
And I think that she looks down and then looks up and smiles back, because you are a much better looking guy than the middle-aged Bardwulf. Fine. Let's cut to the following morning, where I think probably I'm going to have you all outside, just walking around, just to get away from that hall, because certainly, some of his retainers, some of his warriors will have been giving you the side eye. I think, it ended okay, but you've not made friends in there. So what's the nature of the conversation? Let me start with Eadric. What is Eadric contributing to this conversation?
We're all together? We're just outside? Okay. I think Eadric is just kind of bitterly wondering if it wasn't for the fact this spirit needed to be put to rest, that would this entire settlement even deserve the peace that we're trying to bring it?
Oh, I think that's a little harsh, but not as friendly a community as we'd hoped. What about Cennus?
So, out of character, the moonstone is what we're looking for, isn't it?
That appears to, if you want to settle the unquiet dead, that is what the unquiet dead have said you need to have.
Yeah.
It doesn't address the bigger picture of why there is dead.
Yes, why? But she didn't seem she herself didn't seem particularly bothered by that, did she? More than the "I am bound by the relic" kind of stuff. Sorry, where is the moonstone?
Buried at the base of a standing stone.
Then, Cennus is all in favor of we ride out and retrieve the stone immediately.
What about Hild?
Hild is actually disapproval of Gildas. She's like, "Are you trying to get us killed again? Keep it in your pants, Gildas."
I merely am appreciating beauty, Hild.
You again. She kind of gives him a smile and hits him on the shoulder.
And so, Gildas, it seems like there's no one objecting to the idea of getting the moonstone. Is that what Gildas
that's what I'm for, yeah.
Okay.
Hild stole a shovel.
Who's going to try to find out where this standing stone is, or these standing stones are?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll say a standing stone is where it's said to be buried. Are any of you familiar enough with this area to know of the standing stones?
Anyone want to roll a look about you? Probably not, Gildas. That's why they're asking.
I can look about me. I've got a 1 in it, but the
Let's have
outlaw
Kenneth
seems
look about him.
okay.
Oh, I got a 2.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel
And
like
I
the
was
outlaw as well is like has been wandering
Yeah.
around these parts
Yeah.
before. Most
yeah.
familiar.
Well, and maybe even I don't her name. I need to learn her name. What's the dead woman?
Quenthrith.
Quenthrith.
Yeah.
Maybe Quenthrith took me here or something.
She didn't, but she may have talked about it.
Yeah. All right. 6 + 2, which is an 8.
Okay, so on 8, you get to ask me one question, which presumably is, where are the standing stones?
Where can I get some beer? Yeah, we'll do the standing stones. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They are further away from the village than the hill fort, because the hill fort is kind of over there, surrounded by wood and woodland. On the other end, on the far side of the ravine, kind of where the ravine leads. But the standing stones are a bit further away, and there is a dangerous winding path between here and there. Yeah. And it's probably a day and a night to get there and a day and a night back. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds.
So do we cut swiftly to you on the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The land rises, because if you think of the river, the stream that runs down to the ravine and then down around the hill on which the fort is located is in that direction. But then behind you is higher ground. And so you'll make your way up into the hills to a place where, there's a picture, there's a one in the Faces and Places tab. It's a very sharp crest, and the path runs along that crest. And beyond it is where the standing stones are. Yeah. And at one point, this winding path along this quite sharp ridge passes through some, great stones, great boulders. Many have fallen down, but there's quite a lot of them located here. And that's where the ambush happens. So, does anyone have a move that might give them prior warning? I didn't think so. Okay, so I think Cennus on his horse is probably leading the horse along this path. I'll be honest with you, Cennus.
Yeah, I was thinking that. It doesn't sound like it's terrain that I can be on the horse with.
I don't think so. I don't think so at this point. So, Cennus, I'm going to put you at the sharp end. When two people jump from out among these boulders.
Actually,
Eadric.
I have a move that may provide insight with look what I found.
Well, let's play that game then.
I'm going to owe my god a debt, and I think these bandits, in one of their most recent stylish endeavors, got a colorful feather that is not native to the area that a bird has taken for its nest. And I noticed, the direction that it's coming from. It's like that's a style of something. They're people over there.
That's fine. Oh, your god a debt. And Cennus, Eadric points out that there are people in those rocks. So, Cennus, what do you do? Let's start with you.
They're up in the rocks above us. I am going to, I think, first look about me, I guess, to
Why don't you do
try
that?
and assess the situation.
So roll plus sense.
Roll plus sense. It's not rolling. So I think I need to reconnect to the roll with me room. That is a 7.
So on a 7, you get to ask me one question. What would you like to ask me about the situation or circumstances or anyone in the scene?
What's the best way to attack them? to get Tina to seize the initiative from the ambushes.
Okay. Eadric has pointed to these rocks up ahead, and while the winding path goes through, there is some flat ground above those rocks. If you could get up behind them, then you might have the advantage of surprise. And if you could get your war horse up there as well, you might get the advantage of the war horse as well.
Well, I would love to try and get my war horse up there however I can.
Fine. Let's go to Hild. Eadric has shared that there's an ambush ahead. Cennus has spotted where they are. Hild, what do you want to do?
Yeah. I think Hild is used to scuttling away and, sneak attack sort of thing. I do have slippery, but I think that's more for running from a threat.
I think the threat has to be immediate.
Exactly.
So I think once they appear in the scene, that would be entirely an appropriate way to play.
Well, how about maybe because I did save Cennus's life at one point, so we have a battle rapport. So maybe were you going to go head one way, and maybe we kind of look at each other and we kind of to have some sort of flanking pincer move, whatever you call it.
Okay, so Cennus is going to try and get round to that high ground.
Yeah.
Hild is going to melt around this side of the rocks, trying to stay out of sight. Gildas, what about you? I mean, shortly there'll be nobody left to ambush, but
I suppose I'll be staying to the path, but trying to wait to hear them engaging. I'll look to Eadric, but and I'll have got my spear loosened out, but not a great fighter, am I?
Okay. Eadric, are you going to go along with Gildas?
Exactly. I'm going to stay on my donkey and my path.
Fine. So I think it's probably a face danger, and this seems like physical. So I'm thinking, Cennus, this is probably steel to get yourself into a position. Yeah? This all went so well before.
Of course it did, yes. I went great that time, 11.
Oh, that is tremendous. So that's fine. You have gone off one side of the track, out of sight of them, and you are now approaching from the high ground behind them. Yeah?
Yeah, I imagine doing like a switchback up, climbing up on the horse and then like getting ready, and then I'm going to just charge straight down at them, basically.
Hild, let's have you face danger with steel to go the other way.
Could I face danger with sense? Is that?
You can try to work it out. Yeah. Use common sense. Yeah, by all means. Assess the battlefield.
Sense is my 2, and I'm like, okay, I got to use my 2 one of these times.
No, that's fine. No, I'll go with that.
All right. Bam. 6 + 2 is an 8.
Okay, so success, but I will choose that it takes longer than you'd hoped. So you are going to be delayed in joining the fray, but when you do, it will be with surprise. I will give you advantage when you arrive on the scene. Gildas and Eadric, who's in front?
Probably.
I'll take that, Red.
You want to take it? All right. I can stab from behind you.
Yeah, you have a spear, and I don't want to know what it's like to owe you.
I mean, I want to open the box here, Eadric, on whether you want Gildas to hang back and for you to approach alone.
Ooh, yeah, I think. I want to lure them out.
Well, what I'm curious about is, do you want to trigger "Fear not, Master, I will"?
Yes, I believe that's what. Let's work with that.
Okay, so Gildas is going to hang back, send you as the tethered goat, and then Gildas will charge up to support you depending on what happens. Does that seem fair?
That seems very fair.
Let's have you "Fear not, Master, I will." When you are alone, remind us of your safe and simple life before you received your gift. Tell us something about that quiet life. What keeps you calm as you step into the lion's den?
I think he's just remembering like literally going down a row of wheat with sickle in hand, cut, measure, cut, just and like every time he's cutting, it's a step. Every time he cuts, it's a step.
And I'll remind you that there's a place in the character keeper for you to record some of these things you reveal about your backstory and your life before. Describe what you are currently frightened will happen.
I'm currently frightened that they have ranged weapons and are not looking to take prisoners.
Because you have what looks like a really healthy mule.
Yes.
That donkey is valuable. So roll to look about you, but with a risk on a 6 or minus. So roll plus sense, please, Eadric.
Okay. And that is a 7.
Went the crowd. So on a 7, you can ask me one question before the trap is triggered. But they are not going to be armed with distance weapons. Is there something you want to know? Or you can create a detail that adds to the narrative.
Ooh. These people have a camp at the Standing Stones. Maybe they have information about it.
Okay. So if you can take one alive, you might find some stuff out. Fair enough. Okay. So Cennus, we know that Hild is going to be delayed. Eadric is stepping into the jaws. When do you unleash hell, Cennus?
As soon as they move towards Eadric, like as they sort of like ready their weapons, they'll just hear like yeah, and then dun, 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 coming straight down at them.
Fine. So there are at least a handful of them, Cennus.
Mm-hmm.
And they look to be lordless men. So it looks like this is the survivors of the battle, Edwin survivors who have just now living off the land. And so they get up to leap over these boulders at Eadric, and then what do we see, Cennus? And what do you do?
Well, I lower the spear in the charge, shield in one arm, spear in the other, and I go straight for them.
Confront a foe with violence.
Yes.
Roll plus steel.
Just checking I don't have any, unless I say that, the vision of the enemy of God was these people. That is a 7.
Ooh, close thing. On 7 plus, inflict harm as established. So what is your mounted harm with that spear?
That mounted harm with a spear is... what extra do I get for the warhorse? Sorry.
Well, I think it says it says something like spear X.
Oh, 3 harm, horse charge.
Yeah.
So 3 harm.
3 harm. So one of them. What do we see happen? Because you're going to take him out with 3.
Yeah. I think I like the horse just like knocks the first ones like over, right? But then there's one at the back who like stands up and like springs up a thing and then just gets caught straight through the spear, sending him off the edge of the maybe a guy with the bow who was about to fire at Eadric.
Because we know that bowman is gone. And Eadric, that's the first thing you know about this, is when a bowman falls on the path in front of you with Cennus's spear in his chest. Gildas, what are you doing when you see that happen? Because you're a bit hanging back.
I think that I lower my spear and come charging forward to try and take one on.
Okay. 2 of them have leapt down onto the path in front of you, Eadric. What do? You can hear Gildas screaming as he charges up behind you, but what do you do now as you are confronted by them?
I'm going to try and preemptively help Gildas by like when these guys come for me, try and like maybe do the silly thing, the slapstick thing of like trip them or like push them into each other, so like there's one target for a spear.
Okay. What I'm going to do is because they are going to come at you, right?
Okay.
You are trying to avoid them. What I'll do is if the avoiding goes well, we'll convert it into help.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
So
then I'll try to face danger as socially as possible by holding my ground to the last possible moment.
I think social is
Yeah.
pushing it a bit.
Yeah.
I think it's steal. So roll plus steal to avoid them and just lead them a merry dance.
Woo! That is a 9.
My goodness me, that's impressive. So you succeed. I think that it is temporary respite. You know, they are ducking and weaving, but I am going to give you the equivalent of help. So Gildas, you will have +1 on arrival. Yeah. Hild, you're going to be last in for obvious reasons. So Gildas, go for it. There are 2 of them as Eadric kind of just ducks and weaves.
All right, I suppose I'm confronting a foe and I'm rolling my steel,
You
which I
are.
believe is -1, but it's offset by the assistance that has been given me. And my die went away. Where did my other die go? Oh, maybe it got, oh, it got set on top of the other. Okay, stop that. There we go. Okay. All right. That is a 7, but I think I am going to invoke my reputation.
Oh, and does this involve letting the seeming slip a little?
It does.
Oh, your fail ordered debt.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Improve the 7 to a 10+.
Yes, I think that you hear me speaking a language that probably no one quite understands. And Eadric, as I come up, you can see that I've paled. My eyes are this flashing green, and I am moving with tremendous unnatural speed.
And you barrel into them spear first. So you are going to inflict harm as established. I think that they, on a 10+, you also choose 1 foot. I think that they are going to wrong foot you and flee once this is over. These 2, because this is scary shit. And so I think that you inflict harm as established, which for a spear is, I think, 2.
It's 2.
Yeah. So that doesn't kill one of them. But on a 10+, you also choose 1 from the list of 10+.
I want to do that extra harm, I think. But am I capable of like having that reflected as like catching them with the butt of the spear to knock them out rather than stabbing them?
Yeah.
And did I have my wound go away when I rested last night?
Oh, you did. I beg your pardon. Yes, each of you should reduce, should erase wearied and reduce and uncheck 1 wounded. Yeah. So yeah, I think that you spear 1 and then butt the other one, and then they run. Yeah. So we got 1 down. We've got 1 running, 1 unconscious. Hild, this is when you arrive. There are 2 more about to confront Cennus, but they are looking at Cennus, not at you. What do you do, Hild? You are muted.
Yeah, so we have 1 unconscious. I think she will, she's just going to stop these people. And if it takes killing them, you know, that's how it is on the road.
You've got a throwing axe and a cudgel. One of those is more likely to have a survivor than the other. So well, distance or up close and personal?
Well, when she's running, can she throw the axe and then do a little?
Yeah. So you are rolling with advantage because you have surprised them. It took you a little while, but you are on scene. And let's have you roll 3 dice to confront a foe with violence.
And it's a steal, I assume?
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Disadvantage didn't hurt me, and neither did advantage help me. So I have a 9.
Oh, well, it could be worse. So
Yeah.
you will inflict harm on one of them with this axe. Axe does 1 or 2. I can't remember. What does it say?
1, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, both are
Yeah,
1.
yeah, 1. So you inflict 1 harm, but again, what was shaping up as let's ambush the guy with the donkey has just turned into a very different kind of fight. So this one runs for it. Cennus, there is one of them still upright up there. One you've put one over the edge, and the other one has just taken a blow from the axe from behind and will run for it. What do you do?
I say, run or die.
I think this sounds like ask him to do something else, but sense subtle doesn't seem to me to be applying here.
I tell you what, in the name of God, in the name of God, lay down your arms or die, I suppose.
Okay,
no more need die today.
Okay, let's have you roll to ask him with the wrath of God at your beck and call. Not that we have any yet evidence of your ability to do that.
That is an 8.
So on an 8, he throws down his spear and shield, and just kneels, looking terrified at you.
Yeah.
Hild, you've just arrived. The axe scared one of them off, but you said you were wading in with a cudgel after the event.
Yes.
Are you at all tempted by the kneeling man?
She runs up to him, and she looks at Cennus, and just looking for his nod.
Definitely not. No.
And then she
Okay.
sheathes her weapon.
We cut to 2 tied prisoners. You've probably made your way up onto that flat ground where they were ambushing you from.
Can I is there anyone who is say dying left here?
No, I think you killed one outright and the others ran or were wounded and ran.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure there was nobody that could not be saved to the grave. I will pray over the bodies of the dead.
I'm so pleased that you reminded me that the balm of God is always available even to heathen. So you have these 2 prisoners bound back to back, looking nervous, and they expect to be killed. Life is cheap. They've come off on the wrong end of this. They don't expect to survive. They're wondering why they're not dead already.
Hild is not torturing, but she's, threatening them. She's toying with them.
Just to keep them on the edge.
Yeah.
Cennus, I assume you're not going to allow anyone to be killed outright.
No, I think it just will be it's clear what they are. They're bandits, they're lordless men, correct? I will simply ask them, what do they know of the Standing Stone?
And a look of kind of fear comes into both their faces. Oh, you don't want to go near those stones.
God sends me that way.
Then your God is betraying you. And that is where we roll titles for this time. So let's leave us on that cliffhanger. Oh, you don't want to go there. And let's do end of session experience. I'm surprised there's not more experience about, given how many fails you had today. Have you been marking on a fail?
Yeah, I've just had 1 fail.
Yeah, it felt like or did you convert a lot of those 6s with God? Anyway.
I think we did a bit of converting, and I also think that it was just that we all failed individually, kind of in the same string, rather than we failed over and over and over again.
That might have been it. Okay, so let's go. Let's start with Gildas. Gildas, did you invoke your reputation?
I did.
Would you mark another point of experience, please? Did you put yourself at risk to indulge your burden?
I'm questioning. Did my approach there to
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
bride to be, does that seem okay?
Absolutely. Because, in fairness, you, well, also, did you address a challenge with deception? I think fascination counts as that. Take your pick.
Yeah, and I feel like I was kind of lying at the priest there a little bit.
Then let's go to Cennus. Did you invoke your reputation?
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
I did, yes.
And did you put yourself at risk to protect the innocent?
Yes, I think I did.
Yes.
I mean, whether Eadric's truly innocent, I think he's innocent in that particular scenario.
He's innocent enough to count.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair. Looking at Hild, did you too invoke your reputation? Left, right, and center, I thought. And did you put yourself at risk to cheat or steal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It didn't come off quite as planned, but there was a risk involved. And finally, Eadric, did you invoke your reputation? Yes, you did. And did you put yourself at risk by confronting your betters?
Yes.
Yes, you certainly did. Yeah. Take care. Take care in a world that is socially stratified. So I noticed then that that popped Cennus up to 5. If you clear those 5, Eadric, you can get an advance. You'll find the advance lower down the character sheet. Shall we have a quick stars and wishes? Simply so I know where we're going next time. So let's go back around. Let's start. Tyler, any stars?
Tabs. Yes, absolutely. I think there is something to Hild's just A, energy, but B, she's so damaged. You can just see it. It is really interesting to see such a person who's very different perspective from the other 3 of us, just coming from that rough. And I like that. That's interesting and neat. Well, I love Cennus. I think that there's real nobility in how you play him. I love how you bring your religion into the character that it shines forth. You can definitely see his view of his place, with God. I think that's very interesting and really enjoyable. And Sawyer, oh my God, all the time is wonderful. I mean, just every scene. I loved having the scene with you when we were at the ravine. That character, fantastic. Just love them. So good. And I thought how the feast went, all your descriptions were wonderful, Alan. I loved the kind of ghost voice, and to give us a story that wasn't revenge, I think is clever and brave. That's it was not at all what we were thinking was going to be there, and that's nice.
Yeah, this wasn't kill the Lord, win a prize.
Right.
I'm glad. Fine. Will, any stars?
I always love Gildas completely choose the scenery every time he's speaking to anyone, which is great. I loved the calamity, how everything escalated very quickly after Eadric flirted with the wife-to-be. And I really enjoyed the chance to use the horse. I probably would have just taken the ambush otherwise myself, but then when you said the horse can get up, I was like, yeah, I need to use the horse.
I suddenly realized that I'd given you a horse that has a bonus when you're mounted, and I'd given you a really difficult place.
Well, as you were describing it, I was like, oh, well, I won't get to use the horse. Yeah. And I like the whole dynamic between the party, the contentious, kind of fractious, and but all kind of overlapping, which feels like very fitting for the mixed faiths, etc. Cosmopolitan makeup.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I think that the way that you're all playing into the slightly different, the social, the religious, is really giving me joy. So thank you for that. Greg, any stars?
Yeah. Well, I love the theme, and I feel like we're doing Shakespeare here. I mean, I don't really know Shakespeare, but I mean, I feel like we do have these. I feel in Shakespeare, all these people have these very strong like just what Alan said, right? There's the sword of God, there's the Fae, you know. And so I think all these little scenes, you know, we're getting some wacky scene with the chicken, you know, people are pissing on the wall, you know, that's, I don't know. That's how I understand Shakespeare, right? That's that's what I got from Shakespeare. So yeah, and I love the character interactions. I think it was great that the rest of the party screwed up and Hild didn't have to, you know, wasn't involved with that. I thought that was perfect. And yeah, I love playing Hild. You know, the chance that she has, you know, a way to make it right when maybe she had never been given a chance like that before. So that's kind of a cool.
And finally, Sawyer, any stars?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, thank you for making this not a revenge, like monster of the week kind of thing. It very much of Return the Slab from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Gildas, I was like, yeah, this guy is it's like, I know you're dangerous, but that last scene, it's like it cements that there is more like danger than just making bad promises, and that terrifies me in the best of ways. And Cennus makes me want to convert Eadric. It's like, yeah, being as pagan Saxon is not looking at, like, you know, they're letting this be a priest. At least your guys are here for a reason. And Hild, I don't like you, but I don't hate you, which is
okay.
very
Right.
good.
Yeah.
And like, I think that Eadric should hate you, but the fact that he doesn't is a good testament to your playstyle.
For me, stars. You know, the fact that the chicken is now an integral part of the group is great. To the point where at one point I was able to play the chicken. You know, this is a real character now. Hild, I love the. No, actually, the knife is a little lower than the kidneys.
Yeah.
And Tyler, I just love the way that you are creating the supernatural, you know, without going, you know, full Sparky. It's really the way it kind of slips in. And yeah, Will, I think, you know, this is a sword of God who's going to be a bishop one day. You know, it's only a matter of time. No, all of that was great. But, you know, as you've been talking, I've just thought that I have a do something dishonorable this session on Cennus. When you look at the two men, God says to you, dispatch the pagans. What do you do? You are muted. I've taken your breath away.
Yes, you have. Sorry, I just need to remind myself what I can do mechanically in terms of if I refuse to honor a debt, it automatically increases by 1, correct?
No, this isn't a debt. This is 7 to 9. God tells you to do something you consider dishonorable during the session in return for this help, i.e. the enemy of God help.
Oh, I see. Yes, for the
If
vision.
you refuse or fail to do so, lose your hold.
Yeah, I mean, I think I stand, clench the spear, and then just cut them loose and say, go.
So you will not do the dishonorable thing?
I will not do the dishonorable thing.
Okay,
no.
I'm afraid you lose the hold on enemy of God.
Yes, well, that
Jesus,
was worth owing
God's
a
a
debt to
bastard
God.
in this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, let me go back round to wishes. Tyler, any wishes for next time?
I'm interested. I'd like to see Creepy up there at the Standing Stones. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, they're not called the Foul Standing Stones for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can certainly deliver that, I think, or I hope. Will, what about you, a wish?
A chance to do something good as the Sword of God that isn't just murdering men I have already captured, which I understand for the purposes of the thing, but you know what I mean. The Sword of God must fight the darkness, right? And so far the darkness isn't a predatory monster. It's something more.
So this is creepy monster darkness.
Yeah, I guess the way I was thinking of it so far was the real crime here is Bardwulf killing his wife, which, as far as I can pass out, is a crime against every single faith here to have your wife murdered. So that's my long-term kind of being the sword of God. But if there's
Yeah, but
something I can hit,
we got sessions for that.
yes, but if there's something I can hit in between.
Okay. With a kind of clean heart and mind. Fine. Okay. Greg, what about you? What do you want for Hild or somebody else?
I wish I was going to be here next weekend.
Oh,
I'll be out of
I must
town.
remember to send our guest star a note.
But I think for me, I've been racking up some debts to my God. So like to see how that pans out.
Well, you might want to just check out in the debt and gift moves. You can see that you can erase a debt to your god by spitting in their eye and giving way to a mortal temptation.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll check these out then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of you think about that. I'll try to remember to nudge you, but I wanted them to get up a bit before I reminded you could just get rid of them, put up with the consequences.
No, wait. I think the debt has to be called in.
No. If you have a look under debt and gifts, it'll say. Oh, sorry. No, it's in basic moves. I moved it. If you look for assert your mortal free will.
Gotcha. Excellent.
When you assert your mortal free will, mark a temptation and erase a debt to your gods. Because they are going to start calling them in now. Once we get halfway through, they'll begin to call them in.
Okay, great.
And finally, Sawyer, any wishes for next time?
Just gonna echo, since I'm at 3 dead with my gods, I wanna be pressured. Want to see what's gonna be pushing me to spit in their face. Maybe convert. We'll see what happens.
Okay. If you look at it, you get benefits if you push your debt up. You can convert the debt into temptations, which give you disadvantages on some moves, and you can get rid of temptations by seeking solace in friendship, which could end up with you owing a different god a debt. Life's a bitch. Okay, let me stop the recording.